Hey, what's up, lightboltjoe here. Today we are going to discuss the 2011 action-adventure thriller sequel film Fast 5. The word 5 is spelled out, F-I-V-E, Fast 5. The fifth film in the Fast and Furious franchise. That's a lot of sounds. I have my little notes that I took as I watched this. This is directed by Justin Lin, so this is the third film in the Fast saga that Justin's directed. He directed the Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift. He directed Fast and Furious, which is the fourth film, and then he directed this, Fast 5. So this is the first introduction of Elsa Pataki's character and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's character of Luke Hobbs into this project. So a lot happens in this film. Let me just see where I should start. Okay, so the fifth film, this film, starts out with Dom's escape, right? Going out of the prison bus as he's, collected from Mia and Brian and their friends. So Brian's now ex-FBI, right? Brian, Mia, and Dom are on an FBI's most wanted list. So they're trickling down, through the different countries, right? To find a safe spot. So then they get to Brazil. They get to Rio, Brazil, because Vince has gone there. So we get Vince back. We haven't seen Vince since the Fast and the Furious. And we know that Leon is still alive, but we haven't seen Leon in any of the films. So where's Leon? What's going on with Leon? We know that the objective in the fourth was to get Dom to go back because Letty's dead, right? And then the whole saga with Ramos and all the Braga, I'm sorry, the drug lord stuff, things of that nature. So this takes place in Los Angeles, Rio, Brazil, Monaco, Berlin. Hernan Reyes, who is an investor in Rio, is like the main villain, quote unquote. He's a drug lord and an investor of Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. So he's like the main antagonist, if you will. But while this is happening, Dom, Mia, and Brian are being tracked by Luke Hobbs, who's like head bounty hunter for the Americas, if that makes sense. So like he works out of DC, and anytime a name comes on his list, he goes and gets it. So Elsa Pataki's character is like requested to join his team when they get to Brazil. And so he's trying to track down Mia, Dom, and Brian. But while this is happening, and while they're trying to like get their freedom, if you will, Vince has connections within the underworld of Rio, and they want to make a statement to, there's so many names, Reyes, to, they burn his money, all these things. But before all of this, and why this comes about, the team gets back together. So it's really that, like, that TikTok meme that's been going around for over a year of like, we're getting the band back together. And then there's like a song, right? That's literally what this movie is. They're getting the band back together, right? So the whole team comes into effect. We now have Leo Santos are back, Han, Giselle, Roman, Tej, Brian, Mia, Dom, Vince, right? They all come together to face off against Reyes. But how does, aside from the different car chasing scenes and trying to, get away and things, why are we attacking Reyes, right? Why do we want to defeat Reyes? If Dom, Mia, and Brian just want to get their freedom, and Mia's now pregnant, why do they want to get their freedom by attacking Reyes? And then how is Hobbs going to get involved? So Hobbs tracks down the group as they try to infiltrate Reyes's cash vault, if you will, which is being stashed in a very, very high expensive vault in a police station in Brazil, because Reyes obviously owns the cops of Brazil. So there's a pursuit through the different streets. What's the name? Falela? It's like the it's not called a shanty town, but it's like the poorest area of Rio. It's like all those really colorful houses on that hill. I don't remember the name of it. But there's a whole chase scene between Reyes's men are shooting out at Hobbs's men in order to make sure that Dom and crew are killed because of the, making a statement on burning his money kind of a thing. So then Hobbs is like, oh, ho, no. So because a lot of his men were killed, they then kind of join forces. So it's more of like the enemy of my enemy is my friend kind of a thing. And then the quest is now to extract the money, the $100 million from this vault in a police station. How does one do that? pretending physics is not a thing, they take, after everyone practices driving and stuff, Brian and Dom hook up this vault after they break into the police station. They hook up these VWs to the vault and parade the vault, drag it throughout the streets of Rio. Nia is the eyes and ears, so she's telling them everything, and everybody learned Portuguese along the way. Everybody kind of knew Spanish, but they now learned Portuguese along the way as well, which is pretty cool. And then the rest of the team is doing their own little things to make sure that, you know, they get away. And then there's the old switcheroo under the bridge because Tej had to get another vault to practice on. So they had 2 vaults, so they switched out via a garbage truck. So smart. I love that twist. The money went into the garbage truck. The money vault went to the garbage truck when they had a 10-second window. And then the empty vault was in the front. And then they just rehooked to that to then drag that around. And then Dom goes on a killing spree of Reyes and all his cohorts and cops. And Hobbs winds up shooting Reyes in the chest a couple times. That was a pretty nice scene. And then he's like, you know, you've earned your 24 hours of freedom, but I am going to find you, and the money stays here, thinking that the money's in the vault, but the money's not in the vault. And then Don Omar's Danza Kuturo is playing for a solid, like, 5-6 minutes of, like, all of the characters then enjoying their wealth. So, like, Han and Giselle are going to Berlin, talking about going to Tokyo, again, referencing that Han does wind up in Tokyo, but Giselle's not in Tokyo. So what happens to Giselle? I guess we have to watch the 6th film to find that out. Leo and Santos being Don Omar himself is pretty awesome. They gamble some stuff. Tej and Roman are back in the States, or kind of in the States. They only reference Western Hemisphere, but I'm assuming it's back in Los Angeles. Doesn't actually say it, but I'm assuming that. And they have their fancy cars, and then Mia and Brian and Dom and Elsa's character all get together and celebrate, you know, Mia being pregnant on a beach, and then Dom and Brian go racing each other. Because, like, there was a funny, like, what was it? Han, Roman, Brian, and Dom took police cars from one of the stations to get invisible cars, so that way the police cars could help deter other police cars during the actual heist chase. Because this is now a heist film, right? It's great. So that was a really cool, like, racing scene. Fun. So that's the point. I'm going to put my notes down because I keep playing with it. The Fast Saga started as just a car film, right? Car appreciation, drag racing, stuff like that. The second film, we kind of got into more of, like, the drug lord stuff, but, like, still racing cars. The third film, straight up just drifting through Tokyo, involvement with the Yakuza, and then Dom appears at the very end talking about how Han was family. How is Han family? Who is Han? The fourth and fifth film breaks out into it's more than just car films. Yes, there's still car racing, and there's still, you know, girls in really short, you know, shorts and, like, panning up their asses, and, like, it's that misogynistic filming, but, and this was 10 years ago, like, that's what you did back then. But it's stylistic to that type of street racing. It's stylistic to that aesthetic of street. Does that make sense? That was a zigzag of appreciation of how the art was portrayed. But I've said this before, like, these films are all about culture. So we were in Rio majority of this film, right? We were in Rio, we were in Los Angeles, we were in Monaco, and we were in Berlin. The next film takes place mainly in Berlin and London, but it's all about the people. What are the people wearing? What are the people doing? What are the people listening to? What are the people eating? It's culture. You're immersed into this culture. That's why I love these films. The cinematography is always superb, but the story keeps up with the soap opera, and the culture is represented. The aesthetic of the country that they're representing is present. Oh, I love it. I love that saying. So there's a mid-credit scene, not a post-credit scene. There's a mid-credit scene of Hobbs back in DC, and Monica Fuentes, who we have not seen since the second film, is briefing Hobbs on something. He hands her a folder, and she's like, yeah, there was, like, this car thing going on in Berlin, and, you know, a lot of cars were just jacked. And he's like, was it Dom? And she's like, no. And he's like, I'm not interested. And she's like, oh, no, you're interested. So he opens the thing, flips through, and there's a picture of Letty with her fingerprints. And you're like, wait, what? I remember seeing this in theaters 10 years ago, and the crowd went wild. We're like, what? Letty's not dead? So the 6th film is going to examine what happened to Letty in the 4th film. As all good Fast and Furious films do, we always backtrack to what happened and what's going to happen later. I love this film series. We've known this. I have my collection around us. I get very, very jacked when I talk about it. It's just such a great, fun-filled adventure film series, which started out as a basic drag racing movie, which turned into heist stuff, which now then eventually turns into agent working Secret Service stuff, and love it. Okay, glasses on, time to go eat something. Mucho mahalo.